And that kind of brings us to Last Christmas. So Dave, we haven't talked Christmas movies. I'm wondering what's your opinion on them? Do you like them? Do you hate them? What would you rate them?
Do you like Christmas? Are you a fan?
Well,
Um,
you can like Christmas and not like Christmas movies.
I mean, yeah, I like a lot of like the classic ones. I don't like seek them out. I'm not like a ride in the former ABC Family 25 Days run or anything. Freeform now. I'm not doing that, but um,
Freeform now is trash anyway.
yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite one to be honest.
It's a Wonderful
Um,
Life.
I mean, yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Miracle on 34th Street are probably like the quote best ones critically speaking, right? But I feel like everyone Christmas movies are very populist. A lot of them are really like all the animated ones are dumb short. They're all like 70 minutes long, right? Um, but yeah, no, I mean it's its own genre in and of itself. But this movie's funny because like despite the fact that Emilia Clarke's character works in a Christmas shop, it doesn't totally feel like a Christmas movie, which I guess I appreciate because it's not like a super traditional quote Christmas movie, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
a rom com beats might be a little more familiar, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm even like struggling with the rom com label on it, because while certainly there are rom com elements, the the ending, or at least the twist of it all, I don't know. Can you have a rom com with only one person? I don't know. Interesting, and
You can
uh,
try. They
yeah,
certainly did.
and they certainly did. And actually, that kind of brings me to probably my biggest gripe. So you have Paul. Is it Paul Feig? Feig?
Paul Feig, I believe,
Paul Feig.
comedy
Um,
veteran,
yeah. I
lots of
mean,
comedy hits on his hands.
Freaks and Geeks, probably what he is best known for. Bridesmaids,
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters,
Spy.
which yeah, Spy. So quite a few comedy hits on his hands, and I feel like this movie is pretty sloppy, man, because in kind of talking afterwards with Julianne, my girlfriend, on this, we were kind of left with this feeling of like, did this script go through like 10 different people before they kind of got to where it is? Because it feels like the pacing was just totally off. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first half of the movie felt like an eternity, and then it kind of takes off when she starts turning her life around. So maybe that actually just speaks to it, is like it sucks to watch people be miserable. I don't know, but then you kind of move on to the idea of like there's this guy at the homeless shelter that she starts volunteering at, and it seems like there might be something between them, but she doesn't want to pursue it because of this ghost. uh but then they
Mm-hmm.
never like really
There's
go
a lot
back
of
to that.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's a
and
very messy plot. Very
yes,
messy.
and so much is left kind of just like either they wrap it up too quickly, or it feels like they wanted to explore it and didn't, and just
Mm-hmm.
feels unfinished, like half baked in a lot of ways. So yeah, I was kind of left just disenchanted with this film. You said that you felt like it was messy too. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
It's funny too because Emma Thompson co-wrote the movie and of course is in it as Clark's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, think about it. Like they kind of just introduced that her sister is gay and is not totally on the terms with that with her family, like keeping that
Mm-hmm.
from them. They introduced that her Slavic family is immigrants and that xenophobic tensions weigh on them, and Brexit exists in this version of London. Um, the George Michael IP of it all kind of comes and goes. There's just a lot of these like subplots that
Yeah, that
are just kind of thrown in as like extra flavor for the plot, but like they are compelling subplots if they're explored, but the movie just does not have the bandwidth to explore them, so they just get in the way of the main story of Last Christmas. So yeah, it's just messy.
yeah, the George Michael piece of it all is really funny because even though they're using Last Christmas, very famous Wham song, um, I did not expect it to just be all George Michael songs throughout. And then
Right.
I was like, did I buy a ticket to like Yesterday or
Blinded
Blinded
by
by
the
the
Light.
Light. You know, it was just, yeah, I just was like, where are we going with this? And how every single like music box in the store played Last Christmas, and um, it felt like there was maybe like a surreal element to it. You know, like the idea like
Hmm.
that was actually, she was just hearing that because it was trying to like help her realize that this guy is a ghost. I don't know. And I think where I feel probably most frustrated in the lack of exploring is the thing with her sister, right? Because it comes up as a way just to make her like a really horrible person as she like outs her sister to her family. Really kind of out of the blue and just like going way over the top. Um, and then it's all wrapped up because she goes and gives this apology, but and they're like, "Oh, this doesn't mean I forgive you." And then she just drops off a wine bottle, and then things are kind of forgiven by the end. So, it's just kind of like you said, they were like, "Oh, this thing would be really great to have in a movie," and then they were like, "Yeah, but I don't know if we want to explore it too much. So why don't we just kind of like yada 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 the end?" And it's or however we wrap up this conflict and uh yeah. I don't know. I guess were you surprised by the twist of it? Did you see it coming?
That's the thing. So the lead up to this movie, I heard like on a pod someone else talking about the twist, and the whole convo online when the trailer drops is that the trailer gives away the twist.
Hmm.
And I hadn't picked up on it. I just kind of had it spoiled, so I'm watching the movie looking for the twist. And then once I find out that he doesn't have a cell phone and leaves it in the cupboard, I'm like, all right, something strange. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
When she walks into the garbage bags, when she's following Golding, like, all right, there we go. Always looking up. Like I just started to see it, and then it's introduced so late that I'm like, are we gonna get this thing? You know, because like I was thinking, like when she goes to the house, that's like for sale, his old house. I'm like, how the fuck is she doing these things with a ghost? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so
Yeah,
I
she
started
just
to,
broke into a house.
right. I started to disbelieve it. But yeah, so it was spoiled for me. Um, I didn't notice a audible pop in my theater. You know, some of the jokes did land, like the lesbian pudding one at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But
That was good.
yeah, the twist is it's interesting, and you almost wonder what the movie could be if it didn't have the twist. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I was definitely surprised by the twist just because I was like, oh, this guy is gonna like uh, I thought maybe he'd be sick, like he was gonna die, something like that. And that actually I think is the only thing that saves this movie from being not a Hallmark movie. Is that it in the end didn't really rely on the romance so much as like the message was
Mm.
like doing for others. And I think
Yeah,
when
it's
it
really
comes to
pleasant at the end of the
Christmas
day.
movies, yeah, when it comes to Christmas movies, there's two things. Like, is it enjoyable, and does it like leave you with like a good feeling about like humanity? And like, yeah, it's kind of where I was left with it. So I had a decent time.
Yeah.
I would rewatch it if it was on Freeform, which I'm sure it will be next year. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's fine. Emilia Clarke it was nice to see her not be brooding all the time.
Yeah, it's so obviously Emilia Clarke, due to her Game of Thrones commitments, has not had a lot of time to branch out. Obviously, she was in Terminator Genesis, Sarah Connor. She was in Solo, with Kira. I liked her in
Mm-hmm.
Solo.
Me too.
She did her best in Terminator, but that's not a good movie. She wasn't that good in it. But this is the first time she's actually like, obviously the stakes are lower. It's just a normal movie, right? And hearing Emilia Clarke, like do late night, do press for Thrones, she's kind of like a bubbly person, very much not like Daenerys. So having her just kind of get to be that kind of character, I think is nice because it's obviously a different side that we haven't seen from her, but also seems to just be something that she likes to do because that's just how she is. So that's nice, and also nice to hear her just talk in her native tongue in London.
Yeah.
It's like when Christian Bale actually gets to use his accent once in a while. It's like I appreciate that. Shout out to the English; they're talented actors. Henry Golding, did you? I didn't think he stood out this much. I liked him much more in Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh yeah.
And he has a lot more screen time in that. But
Mm-hmm.
this, he's just kind of a pretty guy, and like ultimately, like this, like Clarke and Golding, they really make the poster look nice. They're both attractive leads, but didn't think he did a whole lot in this movie, to be honest.
No, I mean it's he's a vehicle, and
Hmm.
he's a ghost in the law. He's
Right?
not real.
Yes.
So it's just like
Sam Darnold
uh
saw him once.
and he probably picked him off too. So I don't know. I was actually thinking about Emilia Clarke and playing this girl who grew up in Yugoslavia, and then her family fled and moved to London during the war, and uh, she just like has this very like British accent, and just she's basically just a Brit who's in this fit. And then Emma Thompson has this very thick accent. It's like, come on, give me a little consistency here on the accents, people. Come on. 5 foot,
Katarina.
not at the top of my biggest gripes for sure, but it's I don't know. I think it just kind of speaks more to like the sloppiness of it all. Like it just kind of
Right.
felt like some things were thought out, some things not so much. I thought the
Right.
ending scene was fun. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's ultimately it's like it's hard to be too critical of the movie because
yeah,
it's such a wholesome
yeah.
message and story, and
Christmas movie. So
yeah, and I kind of like some of the setup too. Like I thought Michelle Yeoh was
yep.
pretty funny, and she actually had good chemistry with Clarke, probably better chemistry than Clarke had with Goldie.
Mm-hmm.
But like seeing Emilia Clarke just play like someone who definitively does not have her shit together, I thought that it's amusing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
She's
man, rough screenplay.
yeah, for sure. And also Paul Feig, I'm surprised that he's been fairly sharp with a lot of things in the past for this to be this disjointed, and also coming off Ghostbusters and everything around that, and
Well, I
then getting
mean,
pretty panned. It's
yeah, well, last year he had A Simple Favor, which was fucking awesome
yeah,
too. Like he's great.
he is.
So yeah, it's just strange to have him and Emma Thompson both involved,
Have it
and
be this inconsistent.
I guess they just really wanted to go for this concept. It had to be,
Had to.
but and it didn't do super well at the box office like most rom-coms. You wonder how popular this would have been if this was coming out on Netflix in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like set it up last year, and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Netflix is kind of propping up this genre that continues to not succeed traditionally anymore. But I still call it a bit of a win for Clarke, just because it's her just showing something
She has
else.
some range. Yeah.
Actually,
speaking of Netflix, they dropped Let It Snow, which I'm sure I'll be watching at some point, and we'll be reporting back on. So we'll be talking
you're
a little bit
spoken
more.
for on that one.
Oh, I'm certain of it.